Hello. Today we will study the topic 3, transfer of heat. Here in this topic, transfer of heat, firstly we'll study the terms related to it. Conduction. This is the process of the heat. It will totally relate to the heat, its transmission and all. So the process of the heat transmission in which the particles of the body do not leave their position. They will remain in their same position. Then this particular process is called conduction. Convection, this is the process of a heat transmission in which particles of the fluid move. Here the particles are moving, then this particular process is called convection. Radiation. So, this is the process of the heat transmission in the form of electromagnetic waves. This is the process of radiation. Now, the variable state of conduction. When one end of the metallic rod is heated. This for an example, one end of metallic rod is heated by the process of a conduction. Then each cross section receives and say a Q amount of heat from the adjacent cross section towards the end. Then this Q amount of heat is utilized as below. First, a part of this heat is absorbed by the cross section itself, and that its temperature increases. When it absorbs, then obviously temperature increases, and a part goes into the atmosphere via the convection and the radiation. Third, the rest part of the conducted away from the next cross section. It will just move forward to the next cross section. This is state of a conduction when the temperature of the each cross section rod increases with the time its variable state. So this is the variable state of conduction. Now, after the variable state, the steady state of the conduction. So, when one end of a metallic rod is heated and after some time, the temperature of the east cross section of the rod becomes constant. Here the temperature was increasing, but here the thing is that temperature becomes constant. Amount of heat received by the each cross section is utilized as below. No heat is absorbed by the cross section. Second is a part of the heat goes into the atmosphere by the convection and the radiation. Third is the rest part of the heat is transferred to the next of cross section. So this is the steady state of conduction. Now the isothermal space. The surface on which at every point the temperature is same is called isothermal surface. Wherever or any surface where the temperature is same is called isothermal surface. In steady state of conduction, every cross section of a metallic rod is an isothermal surface. So important properties of isothermal surfaces. First, direction of heat flow is perpendicular to the isothermal surface. Whatever the heat or in the direction its heat is flowing, it is perpendicular to the isothermal surface. Second is two isothermal surfaces never intersect. They will be parallel. Now, the temperature gradient, the rate of change temperature with the distance between the two isothermal surface, then it is called a temperature gradient. There is a difference in temperature between the two isothermal surface, then it is called a temperature gradient. Coefficient of thermal conductivity. Coefficient of thermal conductivity K of a material is defined as the amount of heat that flows in a unit time through the unit area of the material perpendicular to the flow and under the temperature gradient when the steady state has reached. So this is the coefficient of thermal conductivity. And mathematically, it will be K is equals to Q upon T upon AL theta 1 minus theta 2. Also, SI unit has been given, CGS unit and the dimensional formula. Now, the equivalent thermal conductivity. What is equivalent thermal conductivity? Just when two conducting slabs with the same area of a cross section, which is A only, and the same length are joined in a series, then the equivalent conductivity is, the length is L1 and L2. So, it will be K is equals to twice of K1, K2, whole upon the sum of both K1 and K2, where K1 is the conductivity of the first slab and K2 is the conductivity of second one. If the length of both the slabs are not same, okay, the condition, then K will be equals to L1 plus L2 and it's K1 a whole upon L1 K1 plus L2 K2. This is the condition when the length is not same. L1 is the length of first slab and L2 is the length of second slab. Now, a second condition when the two conducting slab of the same area of cross section and the same length are joined in parallel. So earlier they were in the series, now they are in parallel. Now then the equivalent conductivity is K is equals to K1 plus K2 upon 2 if the two areas are not same. Now here the condition is that areas are not same. It will be A1 and A2. So K will be equals to K1, A1 plus K2, A2 and its whole upon A1 plus A2. A is the area of first slab and A2 is the area of second slab. So this is the thermal conductivity for the different slabs or the different conditions, series and parallel. Natural convection current. Trade winds, local sea breeze and the land breeze etc. are the natural convection current. Now, reflectance, absorbance and the transmittance. So, when the thermal radiation energy Q falls on the surface of the part Q1 and is reflected to the surface of the part Q2 is absorbed by the surface and the remaining part Q3 is transmitted through the surface, then Q will be is equals to the sum of all Q1, Q2 and Q3. Then Q1 upon Q plus Q2 upon Q plus Q3 upon Q is equals to 1. Then Q1 upon Q will be the reflectance, Q2 upon Q will be the absorbance and Q3 upon Q will be the transmittance. So this is the reflectance, absorbance and transmittance. Now emissive power. The total amount of a radiant energy emitted per unit area of a surface per second is called emissive power. Emissive power is the total amount of the radiant energy emitted per unit area. It is emitted but per unit area of the surface per second. Then it is called emissive power of radiant and is represented by E and the unit has been given to us. Now spectral emissive power, the amount of radiant energy per unit of the surface per second unit and per unit wavelength as it's a spectral. And range at the wavelength is lambda is called spectral emissive power or a monochromatic radiant power. Relation between both emissive and the absolute will be E is directly proportional to T raised to the power 4. When we remove the proportionality, then it will be epsilon sigma T raised to the power 4 and this sigma is the Stefan's constant and epsilon is equals to 1 for the perfect black body. Now emissivity. Emissivity is the ratio of a total radiant power of black body, it's epsilon, and the total radiant power E of the perfect black body. Mathematically, it's like that. Now the perfect black body, we have just read it out that perfect black body, but what actually it is? So a perfect black body is a one which absorbs completely all radiance falling on its surface. One surface is there, the black surface is there, and whatever like things are falling or the radiation of falling on its surface, whatever be the wavelength, it is simply absorbing. It is not essential that the perfect black body should be appear black. It's not like that, but only the condition of black body or a body in which all kind of radiance have been absorbed, whatever the wavelength is. This is what the perfect black body called. Now, the practical black body. So, Faraday's black body consists of hollow double-walled metallic sphere having a narrow opening N on the one side and the conical projection C inside just opposite to its zone below. I think, yeah. So, from inside sphere is coated with the lamp. The radiation entering the sphere through the opening N and suffers the innumerable reflection at its inner wall and about 97% of it's absorbed by the lamp black at the C reflection. So the radiation entering the opening from outside has a little change of escaping after the few reflection, almost entire reflection is absorbed. So the projection C avoids any direction reflection which even otherwise is hardly possible because of the small size of opening N. If this body is kept in a bath at a fixed temperature, the heat radiation come out of the whole aura opening. Now, Wien's displacement law. So, the law gives the relationship between the temperature of the black body and the wavelength with the maximum energy emitted by it. This is the Wien's displacement law. According to this law, The radiative energy dW per wavelength is d lambda is maximum at a certain wavelength, it's lambda m, and the maximum energetic wavelength shift to the shorter wavelength at temperature T. So this will be lambda mt is equals to B. Value of B will be 2.9 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. This is the standard value. So this is about the V's displacement law. Now the Stephen's law. The total radiant energy emitted per second or per unit surface area of the black body is proportional to the fourth power of the absolute temperature of the body. Mathematically, Q by T means heat in the per temperature. The total radiant of the per second unit surface black body is proportional to the fourth power of the absolute. So Q by T is directly proportional to T raised to the power 4, where E is equals to sigma T raised to the power 4, and sigma is the constant, which is the Stephen's constant. The value is also given there. So also there is another form, net heat energy emitted per second unit of the black body is E is equals to sigma T raised to the power 4 minus Ts raised to the power 4. T is the temperature of black body and Ts is the temperature of surrounding. So this is Stephen's law. Wien's displacement law, Stephen's law. Now the Newton's law of cooling. When the body is cooled in air, the rate of loss of heat from the body is proportional to the temperature difference between the body and its surrounding. So the law holds good for small difference temperature, which is dq upon dt directly proportional to delta T, where delta T is the difference between both, means T minus Ts, and small t is the time, capital Ts is the temperature of surrounding, T naught is the starting temperature of the object, or T0, K is the cooling constant. So this is the law or Newton's law of cooling. dq upon dt is directly proportional to delta T. Now from the whatever topics we have covered, from those we got some key equation and the formula. First is the coefficient of the thermal conductivity. K is equals to Q by T A upon L, theta 1 minus theta 2. And for the different conditions even. And the rate of heat of flow for the composite slab. Two slabs when like they are in the series, they are in the parallel. Now equivalent conductivity when N is the metallic slab in the series, when the two slabs are in the parallel, two slabs are joined in parallel, and emissive power is directly proportional to T raised to the power 4, Wien's law, reflectance, absorbance and transmittance, Stephen's law or the Stephen's-Boltzmann law is equals to sigma T raised to the power 4 minus Ts4, Newton's law of cooling. So these are the major key formulas and the equations. Now let's move forward with the 1 marks question. In the steady state, the temperature of the rod is, in steady state, it will remain constant. It means does not change with the time, but it is different at the different times. Does not changing with the time, but it is for the different point, it is different only. Which of the following orders is correct for increasing the thermal conductivity? So for the thermal conductivity, the order C will be the correct one. AL, CUN, AG. Now, Wien's law of radiation, option is the correct. We have already started mathematical expression of it. Now, second 2 marks question. Two metal rods are there, 1 and 2 of the same length and have a same temperature difference between their ends. Their thermal conductivity is K1 and K2 and the cross-sectional area is A1 and A2 respectively. What is the required condition for the same rate of the heat conduction in them? So N is the length of rod 1 and 2, and A1 is the area for first, A2 is the area for second. Difference is theta 1 minus theta 2. For the same rate, heat transfer is K1 A1 theta 1 minus theta 2 L is equals to K2 A2 theta 1 minus theta 2 by L. So A1 upon A2 is equals to K2 upon K1. This is the required condition. Now, let's move forward with the another one. Snow is wetter heat insulator than ice. Why? So snow has a numerous air pockets. Air remain trapped here. This air cannot move around. air is totally trapped. Okay, this air cannot move around, so it cannot transfer heat by the convection. But in ice, there are no such air pocket. It is totally packed, and hence snow is wetter than the insulator than ice. In comparison of ice, snow is the better insulator. Now, let's move forward with the 3 marks question. Describe the Strell's method for measuring coefficient thermal conductivity of a good conductor. This is something practical based question. So here AB is the rod. AB is the rod whose thermal conductivity is to be measured. We have to measure this rod thermal conductivity. A end of the rod is inserted in the steam chamber, and at the B, copper of the tube is wound, and through which the steady flow of the cold water is maintained. T3 and the T4 are the different temperatures. T1 and the T2 are the different thermometers are used to measure the temperature. Okay, to minimize the loss of heat, the rod is wrapped with the wool and enclosed in the wooden box like this. Okay, now at a steady state of the temperature of all four thermometer are noted here. So, theta 1, theta 2 and the theta 4 with the temperature to be shown by T1 dash, T2 dash, T1, T2, T3 and T4. So, heat flowing from the C to D will be Q is equals to Ka, area of cross section, like for the same one, and the different temperature theta 1 minus theta 2 T upon L. A is the area of cross section area, K is the thermal conductivity. Now, to find the heat Q taken by the water flowing through the copper tube, so then the outcoming water is collected in the beaker for a definite time interval, and the mass of the water is measured by the balance Q is equals to MC theta 4 minus theta 3. So, these two thermal conductive heat value we got. So, from both the equation, Ka1, theta 1 minus theta 2, we just put both the equation, and here we get the value of thermal conductivity K is equals to MC theta 4 minus theta 3 L upon A theta 1 minus theta 2. So, here we proved it. Now, again, this is the important one. Two metallic rod of the length L1 and L2 are in thermal conductivity K1 and K2 placed in the contact. Then this proves the equivalent thermal conductivity. Here, we'll have to prove this. So, as we have already studied it, but let's prove it how. So, two slabs are there connected in the series L1, L2, area of cross section is same K1, K2, theta 1, theta 2 and the theta for the temperature in the interface. So, the rate of heat flow is Q by T. It means K1 A1 theta 1 minus theta and then L1, which is equals to K2A theta minus theta 2 and then L2. So, when we just would both the equations, we get the value of theta, which is K1 theta 1 L2 plus K2 theta 2 L1 upon K1 L1 plus K2 L2. So, putting the value in the equation 1, we get this Q by T ratio, which is A theta 1 minus theta 2 L1 upon K1 plus L2 upon K2. Now, if the two rods are now replaced by the single rod of a thermal conductivity K and the area of cross section the length of L1 plus L2 to achieve the same effect Q by T, Ka theta 1 minus theta 2 upon L1 plus L2. So, when we compare both the equations second and the third one, we get here K. Now, we just put both the equation and simplify it, and we get K upon L1 plus L2 plus 1, and this just shift this L1 plus L2 outside and we get the value of K, and here we proved it. Now, let's move forward with the 5 marks question. So, define the thermal conduction and write the unit of a coefficient of thermal conductivity and obtain the relation as well. So, thermal conduction, firstly the definition, the process by which energy is transferred from the molecules to molecule by the direct contact. The molecule themselves do not necessarily changes the position but simplify or vibrate more or less quickly against each other. This is thermal conduction. Coefficient will be K is equals to Q by T A upon L theta 1 minus theta 2. SI unit is also there. Now the formula deduction. How? So let us consider a piece of material in the form of bar length L and the cross section area is A. Let us consider the Q amount of heat energy is flowing through in the time T. So the temperature of the two ends with the theta 1 and theta 2. So in the steady state, Q is directly proportional to A. It means Q is directly proportional to theta 1 minus theta. Now the Q is directly proportional to T. It means Q is equals to 1 upon L. When we combine it, we get value of Q is equals to Ka theta 1 minus theta 2 upon L and then T. So where K is a proportional constant, keep the K one side. K is equals to Q by T, then A L theta 1 minus theta 2. So here we deducted the formula as well. Another question is based on the Stephen's law. Derive the Newton's law of the cooling plot graph and also between the temperature and the time. So explain firstly what is Stephen's law. Then emissivity Q upon T is directly proportional to T and raised to the power 4. Emissivity is the ratio of the total gradient power of the body and the total gradient of the radiant power of the perfect light body. It means mathematically it is derived. Then the derivation of the Newton's law of cooling. According to the law, rate of loss of heat is directly proportional to the temperature difference. So loss of heat will be equals to dQ upon dt. Temperature difference between the body and its surrounding will be T minus T naught. So dQ upon dt is directly proportional to T minus T naught. So dQ upon dt is equals to K T minus T naught. K is the constant, M is the mass as the heat capacity, dt is the infinitesimally small time interval, dt is the fall temperature. So when we solve it, we get dq is equals to ms dt. So putting this value in the equation number 1, when we simplify it, we get dt T minus T naught is equals to minus of K dt. A constant for K is equals to K by ms. So minus dt minus to K dt. So when we integrate it, for T is equals to 0 and T is equals to T dash, so we get log E T dash minus T naught, which is equals to C. So from this equation number 2, we get log E T minus T naught is equals to minus of KT log E T minus T naught. So here we get T minus T naught is equals to T dash minus T naught E raised to the power minus KT. So the temperature of the body decreases exponentially with the temperature, and with this temperature versus time graph, we can show it. Temperature of the body is continuously decreasing exponentially with the time. Now, numericals. The cross-section area of the brick ball is 2.0 meters square. The thickness is 12 centimeter. The difference of the temperature between the two sides of the ball is 24 degree. Calculate the amount of heat flowing through the wall in 1 hour. The thermal conductivity is also given. So, amount of heat flow formula Q is equals to Ka theta 1 minus theta 2 T by L. Whatever the values we have, just write it down and then put all the values in this formula, and here you get the value of Q, which is equals to 1.872 10 to the power 5 joule. Now, another is the area of cross section is given, temperature of its surface is given, calculate the rate of heat transmission. Again, the formula will remain same. You will have to put the values as you have to find the rate of transfer of value or rate of heat transfer. It will be 3.75 joule per second. So this is with the help of this formula, you can easily calculate the heat flow and all. One more, two vessels of the different materials are identical in the size and the wall thickness. They are filled with the quantities of the ice at 0 degrees Celsius. The ice melts completely 10 and 25 minutes respectively. Then compare the coefficient of thermal conductivity of a material of vessel. So Q is equals to Ka theta 1 minus theta 2 T by L. For the Q1 it will be different, for the Q2 it will be different as according to the condition. For the vessel 1, for the vessel 2. Since Q1 is equals to Q2, put all the equations and here you get the ratio of thermal conductivity K1 ratio Q2 is equals to 5 ratio 2. So from this formula only we have just simplified the ratio of K1 and K2. The black body radiates of 5000 joule of energy per second is 227. Temperature, what will be the rate of the radiation temperature by the black body at 7 to 7 degrees Celsius? So here E is directly proportional to the T raised to the power 4 as according to the law. So for the two different temperature, it will be 500 ratio of power 4 and the 1000 power 4. When we solve it, we get it E 7 to 7 is equals to 5000 into 60. It means 80,000 joule per second radiation of our energy is 7 to 7 degrees Celsius. The sun and the moon emit the maximum radiation at 5000 angstrom and a 15 mu wavelength respectively. If the temperature of the sun be the 6000 and calculate the temperature of the moon. So according to the Wien's displacement, lambda t is equals to constant. For the sun it is like this, and for the moon it will be like this. The ratio will have to find Ts upon Tm, then lambda m upon lambda s, then value of Tm we got 200 Kelvin. This is the value of temperature. Now another is the case-based question. Case has been given to us, and on the basis of that we'll have to answer a few questions. So let's read the case first. A railway track expansion joint. Expansion and the contraction of the steel and the concrete structure due to the seasonal heating and the cooling is common problem found in civil engineering. To combat this problem, engineers put expansion joint to absorb these changes. This problem is compounded on the railway track, and this could lead to rail buckling, and known in the industry as a sun kink, as shown in below. So, and cause the derailment of the train. When exposed to temperature variation, the rail tends to vary, and length of its tendency freely allowed for the temperature variance. The rail length L will vary by, this is the length variance can be computed as lambda L, alpha L and delta T. Sorry, it is delta L is equals to alpha L and then delta T. Is the expansion of alpha is the expansion of the coefficient of steel. So the coefficient of the thermal expansion is defined as the fractional increase in the length per unit rise in temperature. Traditional railway tracks are standard length, when the track are made and the length are joint, and by using the fish plates, short length of the steel plate overlapping the joint bolted to the end of the rails. At the each joint, there must be a short gap between the rail ends for the longitudinal thermal expansion on the rail hot days. So, sun kink is the buckling railway. Here it is already given that it is a buckling of the railway tracks due to the seasonal heating of the cooling. When the value of the thermal expansion, what is the value of the thermal expansion of the coefficient? It is 11, which is already given, this 11.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. It means option C is the correct one. So simply whatever the case has been given, from that only you will have to answer this question. What will be the expansion of the 20-meter railway steel track and for the 30 degrees Celsius variation of the temperature? So a formula is given. When we put all the value according to the question, then we get the value of length delta L is equals to 6.9 mm. So this is all about the case-based question. Same, we will have a subjective-based question. So let's move forward with this as well. One day, a morning, Ramesh filled up with the 1/3 bucket of its hot water from the geyser to take a bath. Remaining 2/3 was filled by the cold water at the temperature to bring the mixture of the comfortable temperature. Suddenly, Ramesh received a phone call and he noticed that it was a call from his tutor. He realized that it would be take 10 to 15 minutes at least before he could take bath. Now he had two options. One is fill the remaining bucket completely by the cold water and then attain to the phone. Second is first to attain the phone and then call the remaining, fill the remaining bucket and just take before taking bath. Which option do you think would be the warmer? So firstly, if the mass is this of the water 5 kg and temperature of the hot water is 80 degree, temperature of the cold water is 20 degrees Celsius, then what will be the final temperature when it is 2/3 bucket is filled with the cold water? So mass of the mass of 1/3 bucket water is 5 kg. So the mass of 2/1 is 10 kg. Let T be the final temperature. So calorimetry principle have to follow for the from the topic 2. It will be M1 as 80 minus T and M2 as T minus 2. So it will be 5 into 80 minus T. So we get the value of temperature T is equals to 40 degree Celsius. Now, another one is state the Newton's law of cooling. Also, this we already studied. Now, this one is a pan filled with the hot milk from 95 degrees Celsius to 85 degree, 2 minutes. When the room temperature is at 20 degree, how long it will take from 85 to 75? So, in the case 1, average temperature is 95 plus 85 by 2, it will be 90. So, the value of K delta T is change in temperature upon time. We substitute the value and we get the value K is equals to 7 or 50. Average temperature for the second case, we have the value of K. Now we'll find the value of T. It will be equals to 7 by 3 meter. Now, another is assertion or the reason based question. Assertion and reason has been given. We'll have to find which is correct, which is wrong. Assertion is temperature at the sea coast does not rise too much as due to the sea breeze. Second reason is specific heat capacity of the water is very high. So, firstly, during the daytime, the ground heats up more quickly than the sea. So, the air contact with the warm ground is heated by the conduction and it expands, become the light goes up. Comparatively cooler and over the seas rises to the fill. This is called sea breeze. And the process of which repeat thus the temperature at the sea coast does not rise too much and due to the sea breeze. So the assertion is true and the specific heat capacity is 4200 joule per kg Kelvin. It is too high. So the reason is also true. Firstly, we have concluded the sea breeze and we have also concluded that yes, temperature at the sea coast does not rise too much due to the sea breeze. And also specific heat is determined. So specific heat of the capacity water is so high. But it does not explain the reason, but they are not related to each other. So here we can conclude that option B is the correct. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation for the A1. So this is all about the topic 3. Now, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the chapter number 10.